Hello and welcome to the Voices of the Vic podcast with me, Mike Duffy. As you can see tonight, no Ben Aiton. Ben is a busy man, probably resting and taking time out the limelight from his magnificent Voices of the Vic vlogs, which he's delivered two of so far. Unfortunately for Ben, both of those have ended in Watford not winning, a 0-0 against Preston and a 1-0 loss against QPR, which, if you're just tuning in and you're listening, we won't be talking too much about the nonsense that occurred on Saturday, losing to a QPR side that hadn't won since December. We are here to purely talk about Watford's game on Tuesday night, tomorrow night, as we record this, against Birmingham City. I'm delighted to say that because I have no Ben Aiton with me tonight, I am joined by not only a Blues podcast host, but a very, very good friend of mine. Just also happens to do podcasts as well. And I'm going to bring him into the stream now. It's Jamie Lawlor from the Blues Focus podcast. Jamie, thank you very much for joining me tonight. How's things with you, mate? You all good?
Sound, all is well, my man. All is well. Good result for us at the weekend. So things are a little bit lighter than they were. If you asked me 4 days ago, I would have been saying all hell was breaking loose and I was done with football. But yeah, all good, man. All good.
Sounds like our fan base at the moment. All hell is breaking loose, mate. I mean, we'll get into it, and I mean, before we do it, it's mad. Like, we are literally like really good mates. So the fact that we're doing this on a podcast now, it's mad. So I'll give you a chance at the end to plug your podcast. But let's start. Well, since we last met, obviously we last met in August, the early knockings of the season. We've obviously had a head coach change. We've had two head coach changes since. We're on our second manager since. Rob Edwards was a man in the dugout for us last time at St Andrews. We saw each other there. We went for a drink beforehand, and you were adamant that we were going to stuff you, but it wasn't the case. It's fair to say, an eventful few months for Blues on and off the pitch. Do you care to explain a little bit more, Jay?
What's there to explain? Anything you look up online is pretty much what to see. Like, what you guys can see is what all we know. Like, we don't really know who owns us. It's fucked. The EFL are currently sniffing down our asses. We don't know where to look. We're under investigation, and poor Eustace is trying to formulate a team to play good football while having to deal with EFL charges in the background. It's a worrying time, really. Like, this has been happening for a long time, but to now get an official. It went quiet a few weeks ago, and everyone on our podcast said, like, it's been awfully quiet. Like, we've had no communication from the ground. I said, I wouldn't be surprised with the Man City thing coming out recently. They're doing an investigation at Birmingham City. Next week, boom. Investigation going on for 2 years. Pending charges on who owns the club. I was like, there you go. Richardson Lopez thing, obviously, is all blown up, and I think there's a long and back and forth of, the EFL are saying that Richardson never got the approval to run the club, whereas I think our owners have kind of gone, no, he could run the club. So I think it's just who actually runs the club, who owns the club. We have so many different fucking ownership percentages in apparently someone in Singapore, someone in Hong Kong. Like, it's just honestly, Michael, we don't even know who owns us. I don't think BSHL know who BSHL are at the minute. We just need them gone. Like, and it's just.
It's weird you say that. Obviously, we're sort of at the other end of the spectrum, if you like. At the moment, there's a lot of hatred towards our owners. There's a lot of people calling our owners out. And yes, things aren't all rosy at Watford, but when you hear that different perspective from you guys, who you don't even know who's owning you at the moment, it's crazy. I mean, I've just had a comment there from Scott Michael. He said, as long as Lawrence Bassini gets his hands on, I assume he means as long as he doesn't. I think you dodged a bullet there, Jane, massively.
Honestly, I couldn't deal with it. When I heard Bassini, I was like, no. I don't care. Wasn't he giving me all the promises under the sun? Like, I'll give you 100 million, we're going to go up, we'll be... Look, like, we've just about recovered Redknapp's fucking bullshit of 15 signings in one window and wages. Like, we're still feeling that one. So Bassini can piss off to the wind. Like, not a chance.
Yeah, but it's crazy to hear that. As I say, things not very good with Watford at the moment, and people calling the owners out. That's up to them if they want to do that. But to hear a different perspective from another fan base who, as you stated a minute ago, you don't even know who your owners are.
No,
You know, that's quite, you know,
we hear
eye-watering.
names,
Yeah,
and
it'd probably
then
be
they
a bit.
go, no, it's not us, it's this one. No, it's not this, it's this one. No, it's this one. No, that's we hate. Don't get me wrong, we're with you in the fact we hate our own. We just don't know who the fuck to hate. That's the issue we've got. We don't know who our anger is at the minute. We're
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. But steering down the avenue of someone we
yep,
both know well, there's two people I'm going to ask you about. First one is a man in the dugout for yourselves, John Eustace. He's a name that's very familiar to Watford fans,
of course.
ex-Watford skipper, you know, really held in a high regard at Vicarage Road. And I'm glad that I'll be there tomorrow to sort of give him a good reception that he will deserve at Vicarage Road. It's been his first season as a manager and his first season with Blues. I understand from speaking to you, speaking to a few other Blue Noses that we know, it seems to be a bit of a mixed bag his time at the Blues. Like, what's your take on Eustace as a manager? Is he the one, or do you want him gone, or what's the crack?
It's his first proper season in a tough league in professional football. I personally like Eustace. A lot of we're very 50-50. So we did a podcast the other week. So as of pre-Wigan, when we drew and then beat Rotherham, we'd lost 9 out of 11. So at that point, we were saying on our podcast, like 90% of managers are gone on that form.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, pre-World Cup, we were absolutely flying. This guy gets us playing good football. I feel like he's learning as the job goes on. You know, does he make one or two mistakes for me? Yeah, his subs come on a little bit late. He's very arrogant in his 5-back formation, but he's learning. We switched to 4-3-3 at the weekend, and I think it did save his job. I like Eustace, and I really want him to do well. At the beginning of the season, it was the most connected as a fan base we've felt to our football club since Gary Rowett, since them
Yeah,
kind of times. Like,
you sort of got that feel, you know. Obviously, we both went to that game, and
hmm
I'm sure Watford fans will have sort of got that feel as well. I mean, Watford fans are all too familiar with Blues being connected with their fan, with the players and the staff. You know, let's not forget. I certainly won't remember it. Gary Rowett's first home game was against Watford, and we went up that season and we lost 2-1. You know, Clayton Donaldson got both goals, so you know it was sort of similar to that. And as you say, you were flying at the start of the season, and
yeah.
you know Eustace was one of the many names linked to us before we got Rob Edwards.
Yes.
They said they wanted a young, progressive British coach, and obviously Eustace, as I say, being the former captain for Watford, he would have been a good candidate. But it's interesting to see, you know, him doing, you know, as well as he's doing. And it makes me laugh. You said there a minute ago that, you know, before the draw to Wigan, you'd lost 9 out of 11, and most managers would have been sacked. We'd have probably got through 2 managers in that run, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And then obviously another man as well that, you know, needs no introduction. The main man, the big dog up top.
The big dog.
First things first, before I ask you what I want to ask you,
Yep.
I've been telling every man and his dog from a Watford perspective that he's injured at the moment, so he won't
He
be
is
playing
injured.
tomorrow. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. He's, I believe it's a thigh or a groin strain of some sort.
Right.
He was ruled out for a couple of weeks, I think a week ago.
Yeah.
Which annoyingly, the fucking game he was ruled out, we won a penalty the next game, and Scott Hogan hits the post. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake! Like, you know,
Well, he's missed a couple, ain't he, Troy?
he
Which is
missed.
unlucky.
He basically put one into outer space against Hull
Yeah.
away, but he already scored on that game. We were 2-0 up in the 70th minute at that point, so you know, even
Exactly.
Troy laughed when he missed it. Looked at the fans and went, "Sorry."
But
Like,
yeah, you know, we have to touch on him.
of
I know
course.
he's not been as regular for you guys this season. I think, you know, maybe his age plays a little part in that.
Yeah, of course
I
it
think
does.
he's picked up a few sort of niggles along the way as well this season. And again, much like the whole Eustace in, Eustace out brigade, there's been a proper mixed bag on Troy's time at Blues. I'm surely people weren't expecting the Troy Deeney that we had in his pomp to
Yeah.
then turn up and play like he does. He is older. He's having to deal with multiple injuries. He's, you know, he finished the Watford campaign basically playing through injuries all the time and taking injections. So he's not going to be the same player. But what's your take on Troy at the moment? Well, what's the Blues fans' take on Troy at the moment? Because obviously he's an
50-50.
absolute legend, and part of me's gutted he's not playing tomorrow because
Yeah.
I'd love to welcome him back. But another part thinks the way that we're playing at the moment, he'd have an absolute field day against our defence.
And that's the thing, isn't it? With Troy, I like Troy. I get a lot of slate from Birmingham fans for saying this because a lot of fans are like, he's old, he offers nothing, he's got no pace about him. Troy's game has never been about bursting pace and behind, though, has it? Like, he will hold up the ball, he'll win headers, he'll flick it on. There's no point, I say this all the time to people, when you're playing a 5-3-2 formation, if your wing backs aren't fucking getting forward, Troy is not going to be able to do much of it. Hogan's got the movement of Manan. He's been injured since pre-World Cup, and you can see it. Like, so I feel for Troy. Like, he bleeds this club, and you can see that, and he wants us to do well. He obviously signed a 2-year contract when he joined us last summer. His contract is up. Would I give him another year? Yeah, I would. He said openly when he signed for us, he's not on a lot of wages. You know, he could have got bigger offers from bigger clubs and bigger money, and he chose to come to us. If he doesn't want to stand and he wants to retire, I'd give him a coaching role at Birmingham City. I'd give him like the assistant manager's role under Eustace. Him and Eustace seem to have a good friendship and a partnership. I think he's good for the young lads. And I don't know if he was like it for you, Mark, but the thing I love about Troy the most is if one of our young lads are on the pitch and they're getting bullied by one of the older players on the other team, Troy's very quick to run over and give them a, like, niggle them and let them know, like, he'll hit them at some point in the game, like a crunching tackle.
Well, you saying that reminds me the lockdown season when we got promoted. Troy was very much a bit part player because of injuries and all you know, all of that stuff. And we played Luton, and it was the first time we played Luton in, I want to say 14, 15 years. And obviously it's a big derby, but because there were no fans, it was typical. The first one in 14, 15 years, and we bloody, you know, there's no fans to be there and witness it. And, you know, Nathan Jones, we won 1-0 at the Vic, and Nathan Jones is an absolute...
He's a dickhead, isn't he? He's a dickhead, isn't
Yeah,
he?
I do not like him one bit.
He's a knob.
I will agree on one thing he said. It didn't have a feel of a derby. Well, obviously, because there was no fans.
Yeah.
But one of our guys got sort of barged by, I think it was Norrington Davis, who was on loan. And Troy come on for the last 10 minutes, and he just shoulder barged him. And this guy just went flying. And like that was Troy's way of saying, listen, you pick on my players, and I'll fucking show you that this is my team, and I'll rule the roost around here. So that's what we love about Troy. And listen, towards the end of his career at Watford, a lot of people, believe it or not, were like, we need to get rid of Troy. We need to get rid of Troy. And to be honest, Jay, I think we've seen recently, and I might get a bit of stick in the comments here about this, but I think we've seen recently that we're actually missing a player like Troy. Regardless of
Troy's
if he plays
so
or
essential.
not, I can bet you bottom dollar, even if he didn't play, he's such an influential character to have in the dressing room, around the place. And the gutless performances we're seeing at the moment, like we did on Saturday, like we did the week before, you know, we lost to QPR, who had won 1 in 13 games. And Troy would not have had some of the performances on that pitch. He'd have picked them up and said, listen, you sort yourself out, because this is an embarrassment. So, you know, we do miss Troy. And like I say, it's a shame that we're not going to see him tomorrow night. Again, I say it's a shame. It's a shame for sentimental value, but I think he would have had an absolute field day.
He might come along with the team, though, do you know what I mean? And just be there.
Yeah.
It makes sense for him.
If he's in a box either, because he's obviously got contacts at the club.
Comes out at half time and does the talk or something.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there was all this talk about having a sort
testimonial.
Testimonial game, and it being against Blues, and him playing half for Watford and half for Blues, and obviously that was before the Blues move come along for Troy. So. Yeah, you know, I certainly, I must admit, Jay, over the years, I've not been particularly fond of Birmingham City, but I think there's a lot of Watford fans that are in a position now where with John Eustace at the wheel and Troy Deeney, you know, leading the line when he's fit, there's a lot of Watford fans that take a sort of softening and likening to Birmingham, other than tomorrow night, obviously, because we need a win.
Yeah,
we can't
obviously.
bowl at the moment. But talking of tomorrow, let's focus on the game while we're here to talk.
Of course, mate.
You picked up a massive win on Saturday against Rotherham, very much needed. One, do you think you clear a relegation now? And two, if you don't, can you see it going down to the final games like it has done the last few seasons?
So I just literally half an hour before I've joined this one, we've just finished Blues Focus, and this was a
Yeah.
massive point for us, where we said we're 10 points, 10 games left, 10 points clear.
Yeah.
It is very Birmingham City to fuck this up and still have to go down to the last 2 games, but the teams in the bottom 3, and I'm gonna get slated for this comment, are that shit. I can't see them getting 10 points in 10 games. They are woeful, like, and that's including we lost to fucking Huddersfield. And they're shit. So it's one of them. I think we'll be all right. I think 47 probably keeps you up this season the way this season's going. I can't see any of them bottom 3 getting 15 points for the end of the season. We're on 42. We've got you boys then away at QPR. We'll show you how to do that. And says that as he gets tramped 4-0 by QPR next Saturday. Sends you a message crying. I think we'll be all right. I don't think we'll go down. Like you said, Saturday was massive. We've been screaming for a change, and we love Scott Hogan. He's a standard poacher, fox in the box. He's not interested if that ball's in the box. But I've been saying it for 3 weeks. Drop him. He had an injury before the World Cup. He looks like he's never gonna come back. Like, he looks like he's never going to have that injury gone. He just needs to have a rest. We rested him. We played Yukovic, played Kedra one side, Chong the other, 4-3-3, played to the big man. Worked a treat. Kedra looked dangerous. Chong looks dangerous. We had probably, I'd say, the youngest midfielder in the championship that week because Bielik went off 30 minutes injured. He got both his front teeth kicked out by a Rotherham player.
Yeah.
Wasn't a red card. Don't know how. Great. And we had Jordan James, who's 19, Chang and Hall, who are both 18, rocking the 3 centre mid role, and it worked.
Well, Hall was the young chap that scored against us at St Andrews, wasn't it?
Hopefully
he's been
again.
linked with moves to Leeds and all that, and he's one of the next big prodigies coming out of Birmingham City Academy.
We're good at that.
There's been many.
We bring through good young players who just don't fucking keep them or sell them for stupid money.
That's the problem when you're sort of in financial mess. You sort of any money you can take, you'll do it. It's interesting you say there, Jay. You switched it up for Rotherham. Obviously, big game for you guys. One of our guys just said you've taken more points off Rotherham this season than we have. We've drawn both games. It's horrendous. But that sort of reminds me when Lee Bowyer come in and you went on that sort of mini run when he come in, and Bowyer just said, well, we just went back to basics. You get the balls in the box, and listen, Lucas Yukovic is a player I admire highly, and Troy's done many interviews over the years, even when he's at Watford and when he's left Watford, and he said in one of the interviews that he almost got sold under Sean Dyche, I think it was, and then part of the deal would have seen Lucas Yukovic come the other way to Watford. And Yukovic is a proper old-fashioned bruiser of a striker. And is he, is he going to be the
He'll
key
be started.
to fighting, to keeping you up? Is he going to be the key?
So we had this debate the other week as well, and I have literally openly said this, and I don't care what anyone says. He's been at us since 2015, 2016-ish. And I said, I don't care if it's not in the 10-year mark. That man needs a fucking testimonial when he leaves us eventually. Because I'll tell you what, Mike, him and Harley Dean, I would say, cornerstone for survivals for us. Yukovic is arguably, and I'll go on a limb and say this, in the championship, aerially the best player. He's a nightmare for centre-backs to play against. He must be horrible. He's backing into you all game. He's 6'4". He's winning every header. He's got good control. He's got a powerful left foot on him. He's got everything you want as a target centre man. And he's, Troy's injured and everyone's like, oh, fuck, what are we going to do? Oh, yeah, we got Lucas Yukovic. And Eustace's masterclass this season for me was we played Burnley and drew 1-1 at St Andrews. I've never, ever seen a manager do this before. He deployed Troy Deeney at left wing, Yukovic at right when we went 1-0 down, and put Scott Hogan up front, and we battled back and got the point at that point. And I was like, I've never seen 2 target men out wide, but it fucking worked.
Yeah, that's proper ballsy from John. That is, but he's someone that there'll be Watford fans watching this sort of thinking, we could really do without that. I mean, I probably don't speak on behalf of all Watford fans here, but since we've brought in Ryan Porteous and Wesley Hoot, it's sort of shored up the defence. I suppose that sort of speaks volumes of how bad our defence has been over the years. But I would like to think that they would be able to deal with him aerially. The only thing is, Wesley Hoot is usually a walking yellow card. So I can see maybe Yukovic sort of testing the waters early doors and thinking, right, I'm going to get a yellow card out of him. Let me then move on to Porteous, see if I can get a yellow card out of him. And he was up against McBurney a couple of weeks ago, and I went to that game, and McBurney picked his pocket several times, and Porteous ended up scoring an own goal and picking up a yellow card. So, it sounds like that could be a real key point for Blues on tomorrow night. I mean, just talking about tomorrow night, Jay, you've like I said, you've come in it off the back of a great win for you guys. How do you see it panning out against us? Are you confident? Are you just damage limitation, or is it a free hit? What's your thoughts?
I think we draw. I think personally, I would say your fans are gonna hate me. I'd say a new manager bounce is a scary thing, but a Watford Football Club, it's just like a new game for you, isn't it? So it's sound like big result for us. All the things are stacked against us. New manager, playing away at the Vic. We played 3 days ago. We've got injuries. Bakuna's out as well, so he's serving his second of his match ban for 10 yellows. And Bakuna arguably is our most technical footballer. Yeah, in typical Blues fashion, we're meant to lose this, so we'll probably get a point. A dirty 1-1. Like, we'll scumbag a set piece. We're dangerous at set pieces. You said, defensively at the minute, you're a bit leaky when it comes to set pieces.
We cannot handle set pieces, Jack.
We've got big bastards as well. We've got Harley Dean, Kevin Long, great deliveries from Chong. Yukovic himself will be in there sniffing about. Trusty loves a good goal or two. So
I just want to point out, Jay said a minute ago that Bakuna's missing, and that he's one of the technically one of the best midfielders, he thinks. He's, of course, talking about Janino, because we've currently got Leandro, his brother, and he's absolute dog shit. So don't think that Jay's trying to big up Leandro because he's on about Janino. To be honest, I'm quite glad that he's missing tomorrow, and we're missing Hamza Chowdhury because he picked up a yellow. So
he was a knob against us at St Andrews. He was a knobhead. I remember watching him. We should have had a penalty at the end of that game as well.
I got sent the clip straight after. I didn't even see it because it was the other end.
I didn't. Yeah.
So, yeah. So your score prediction, you're going for a 1-1. Yeah.
I think you score first. We battle back for a point.
Well, I mean, with us at the moment, it's just been that poor. Like I genuinely, right, the run that we had when Wilder come in was QPR, who I've mentioned many times their run. They'd won 1 in 13. You boys on Tuesday night, and obviously, I hate to say it, Jay, but you guys aren't exactly flying. And then
we're crap at the minute. It's fine.
Yeah, we've got bottom of the table Wigan. That's if they are still bottom. Bottom of the table Wigan at home on Saturday. So his first 3 were QPR, Birmingham, and Wigan. And I said on the pod the other day, me and Ben were talking about, does Wilder get us playoffs? I said he has to take 9 points. Anything less, and we don't get playoffs. We're 6 points outside the playoffs now. Everyone in the playoffs keeps winning. Everyone in the playoffs is playing tomorrow as well. So it's not even as if we can gain a bit of ground back. We have to hope for losses. Them lock down the M1. I won't name them because
12 toes.
They're flying at the moment with Rob Edwards. So it's not going well. I mean, I've had a bet with the Saturday team that I managed. I've had a bet with the Sunday team manager. He was a Blues fan, and I said 20 quid, and I get a Blues draw and a Blues win, and I give him money if Watford win. That's how confident I was that we wouldn't. This is a banana skin game. Blues, in your eyes, you're probably looking at this thinking,
it's a free hit.
We've just come off the back of a great win against Rotherham. We've got nothing to lose. Spirits will be high around the club. You're coming against a team that, yes, although they may be having a bit of a manager bounce, which hasn't kicked in yet, it all seems in a bit disarray. Troy will be in people's ears at the training ground all week saying, listen, this player don't like that player don't like that, press them here, do this, do that. He'll know inside out that club, our club, and how to get at us and everything else. And, you perhaps it's a little bit of a free hit for you guys. I know
Yeah, it is.
at this sort of stage of the season, you can't really take any games for granted, but I think you boys can definitely come and cause us problems, which really, really scares me.
I said we need to go 4-3-3. Start the same team that started Saturday. Go attacking down the wings. Just go for it. Why not? Just go
Yeah.
for it. Like, use a shaky at the minute. Why not? Just go for it. I'm sick. We did this against Wigan. We went 1-0 up 4 minutes in because Bakuna scored a worldie of a free kick. And then fucking defended for 86 minutes. And this is why we don't win games. And it was like, oh, that's what... Like, and it's one of them, like, we need to just go for the throat. And on Saturday, we went for the throat, got the second goal and pushed for a third. Like, and we need to do that a bit
Yeah.
more. I just can't see either team winning at the minute. If I'm coming as a neutral, if I was putting a bet on, I'd say draw. Both teams score draw 1-1.
Yeah, well, I'd probably go for a 1-1 as well, not to be boring and sit on the fence, but I just think that there's so much despair around the club at the moment. I'm driving down tomorrow after work, so it's the first time I'm driving to a game since passing my test. So it's quite a big thing for me, and I always try and go to the Blues Watford games, whether it's at the Vic or at St Andrews. Obviously, a big connection with Birmingham. So, I thought, what, why not? And why not? We just come off the back of a horrendous result, and everything's doom and gloom at the club at the moment, and there's everything's up in the air, and we're just playing horrendously. So I hope I'm wrong. I really hope the players prove me wrong tomorrow. But I tell you what, I want to see more than anything, Jay. Obviously, I want to see us win football matches, and I'm sure any football fan can relate to this. I just want to see the players look like they give a shit, because I'm sick to
Yes.
death of watching my football team on a 3 o'clock on a Saturday and thinking these players don't care. I think
Yep.
the thing with Watford is, and I'm sure there'll be many fans in the comments that agree, is I worry that there's been a bit of a culture change with the players, and this isn't a recent thing. This has been going on for quite some time. That in their head they're thinking, well, if we play shit, the worst that's going to happen is they sell me, so I'll go to another club, or B, if we play that crap, we're going to get a new manager, and this manager's going to, get the boot. So the blame doesn't lie at their door. They always get off scot-free. So therefore, they can play as shit as they want, because they know they won't get the slack for it. It'll be the guy in the dugout. They'll be like, listen, mate, it's not working. See you later. Yet the players who have been there for a large part of these manager turnovers still remain. So, yeah, I do hope that I'm proved wrong. If we come away from that game tomorrow with a 1-1 draw, but I've seen that every player on that pitch in a yellow shirt has given 110%, I'll clap them off, and I'll drive back to Nottingham, and I'll think, you know what, wasn't as bad. So that's all we want. But before we finish off, Jay, obviously you are part of a Birmingham City podcast. You have done a podcast to preview tomorrow's game. So any Watford fans that might want to watch it, head over to the channel. Jay, where can we find you? And what's
YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Go for us. We're Blues Focus Podcast. If you just type in Blues Focus on YouTube, all our content's on there as well, guys. Obviously, we're all available via Twitter as well. We all have our own personal Twitter accounts. We are usually quite responsive on YouTube comments as well, if you want a message. But
yeah, well, make sure you guys go and check out Jamie and his lot's preview as well. And hopefully, I don't know if me and Ben are going to be back to preview something, but we'll try and sort something out either way. And just before I wrap up as well, I want to say massive congratulations to Ben again for producing another brilliant matchday vlog. Something that started against Preston, and he's absolutely smashed it. So if you haven't already, go onto our YouTube channel, check out VOTV Vlogs. We've got a separate playlist for them now, so you'll be able to find it in the playlist VOTV Vlogs. Go and check out. I know we lost, but it's still the thought that counts. And I thought Ben did a brilliant job. I'm going to be the one doing the match day vlog tomorrow. As I say, I'm driving down from work. So my trip down to Vicarage Road will be documented. Hopefully, I can have a bit more luck than Ben, who's not done a winning match day vlog yet. But yeah, go and check it out if you haven't already. Ben's done a superb job. And like I say, hopefully me and Ben will be back to discuss the Birmingham City game. If we're not back straight away, we might wait till Sunday and do a collective Birmingham and Wigan review podcast. But thank you very much for joining me tonight, Jay. I'm sure
No
we'll
problem.
exchange plenty of messages tomorrow. I'll be there. You're off to Cheltenham, but yeah, I'll be there. So I'm sure we'll exchange many text messages. And thanks to everyone that's watched. If you're rewatching this, make sure you hit the like button, you hit the subscribe button, and you hit the notification so that every time we go live or upload, you get a notification straight to your phone. If you're listening on a podcast platform as well, don't forget to leave us a rating. It means the world to us, and it helps us out more than you think. But from me, Mike Duffy, and from Jay from the Blues Focus podcast, stay safe. Come on, you Horns.